sorry, and he would go, and in the Old Testament, he would have to go and sacrifice something, shed some blood for forgiveness to God. That's how God received forgiveness and covered that sin. When so Samuel went to him and said, obedience is better than sacrifice. Now see, sacrifice is not the word you know about today. Sacrificing, it's not like baseball when you bunt and the guy goes to second and you sacrifice yourself. It's not that. It's not about tightening your belt and not spending all the money. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sacrificing an animal to cover up a mistake. That's what that guy was talking about. So what's a New Testament way of saying that? Grace. Obedience is better than grace. Now, grace is still there. Don't anybody get excited about that. Grace is still available to us, okay? We need grace. I need grace every day. I need it. But I shouldn't always have to have it. Obedience is the way to go. Are you ready? Now listen, I want you to get this today. This is really something, and I'll be really honest about myself here in just a minute. How many of you go to bed at night, and when you lay your head down on the pillow, you begin to rehearse your day, and you begin to think about all the things that you didn't do, especially if you've got a problem or an issue or a circumstance that you are not dealing with. You got some unforgiveness, somebody with an offense. You went to Walmart and you got $10 extra in your change and you didn't go back in and give it to them. You know what I'm talking about? Now, I'm throwing scatter shots out here because I'm trying to hit everybody's thought pattern. Because there are things when we lay our head down on the pillow at night that we're not satisfied with ourselves. Me, too. I'm here. We procrastinate about doing what's right sometimes, and we lose sleep over it. We lose our joy over it. We lose happiness. We lose time. And that's what I want to talk to you some more about today. I want to talk to you and challenge you to do something different. I don't want you to lose any more sleep. When we procrastinate, we feel bad about ourselves, and it condemns us. I don't like feeling condemned. It's kind of like this, guys. When you go home and you go out into your garage, that place that should be a holy place for guys sometimes, and all your stuff's covered up. In fact, you still got some Christmas boxes in here. I'm telling on myself right now. In fact, your children have used your garage as a storage center to the point where you can't get in and out. And now your wife's put stuff in there that she knows don't belong in the garage. Now, she picks it up once in a while, okay? But I'm just saying, it's not been a holy place for a long time at my house, okay? And so when you go in there and it's all trashed up, you just don't even want to spend time in there. So you don't. You just avoid it. If the door opens, close it. Please close the door. Don't let anybody even go in there. Ladies, how about you? How about the kitchen? You walk in and the sink's full of dishes. 2 days. Forgot to put something up from supper last night. Doesn't smell good. One of the kids spilled something on the floor and it's still there. Trash overflowing. And when you go in there, then you do one of these. And you go back in and turn the TV on because you didn't want to deal with it. I just hit home with 2 or 3 people right there. I just did it. They're sinking down into their seats. But I'm here to tell you today, that's what I'm talking about. That procrastination is what we're talking about today. It depresses you, okay? Every time you start thinking, what's wrong with me? I'm lazy. I'm never going to keep this place cleaned up. I might as well go sit down and watch TV. How many of you do that? Yeah, I'm going to raise my hand. Been there, done that. Heather, I'm glad you were honest with yourself today. I didn't say which Heather. I'm not looking up. The problem is that's a whole negative cycle, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. Some of you are sitting in here today thinking this right now. In fact, I've taken you to a place you don't want to go. You start thinking about all things you got to do when you go home, right? Guys, you're thinking about the 25 things still on the honey-do list that you keep losing and she keeps finding. You have a room that's half painted from Christmas. It's easy. Somebody said easy. Your car's 3,000 miles past due for an oil change. Yeah. The Jeep you bought 3 years ago looks worse today than it did 3 years ago. That's a specialty item right there. But I'm hitting home today. I know I am. I know I am. Maybe you've got 6 months worth of bank statements sitting in your envelope at home. You still haven't done it. Here's what you're doing. You're living a frustrated life. In fact, your middle name could be called Procrastination. Ushers, I want you to lock the doors. 2 people just got up. 2 more people wanted to get up, but they're putting it off. Here's some things I want to talk to you about. God has been talking to us about another area as well. Let me get into this just for a moment. Talking about being in debt. If you looked on that tithing envelope, there's a place called Debt-Free Seed. And just as a side note here, we put that in there for, number one, anytime that you have something you're trying to fix yourself, it's kind of God's way of giving to something so that you can apply that seed to getting your problem taken care of. Okay? So we put that on there. Now what that works for the church and should be working for you. In fact, I talked to somebody this morning who's got a plan in probably 2 years they're going to be out of debt. Now listen, I know this is for all of you. The last time I talked about this, I asked for a raise of hands of how many people were out of debt completely, and 2 of you raised your hands. So I know I'm talking to the right group. I didn't raise mine. I'm trying to get out myself. And I'm sowing seed into that, and I'm more out of debt today than I was when we started. I am. And so is your church. And we're going to be. That's my goal. I believe God put that on our heart. We want to be debt-free. We want to be debt-free. We want to be able to handle our money. We want to be accountable for our money, control our spending, not use credit cards unless you have to for a moment. But for some, these are areas that you still struggle with, and you keep putting off dealing with that issue, that part of your life, even though it's the right thing to do. The Bible says that when we know what to do that is right and we don't do it, that's sin. So let's call it what it is. Now, okay, somebody said, wait a minute, spending money is a sin. I did not say that. Listen to me. I want you to understand my heart. You know, just like overeating, you know when you've eaten too much. You know when you shouldn't have that extra piece of pie. You know when your spending is out of control. You know when you're not dealing with something, right? You know. The spirit on the inside of you, you know how you can tell the spirit on the inside of you saying, no, don't do that. Don't buy that, you don't need that. I got something else for you. The head and flesh is saying, man, that'd look nice. I'll pay for it next month.